Good morning. It's Sunday morning, and well, I thought it might be fun if we read through the Sunday comics together today. So, if you'd like to read along, today's issue is from the November 19th issue of the Livingston County Daily Press and Argus. So, we begin with the family circus. I've always been a big fan of the family circus, the shenanigans that these kids get up to. It's insane. So, let's get started. So in the opening scene, we have looks like the father here is engaging in social conversation with his infant child, and he says, "Let's hear you say, 'Daddy, Daddy, say Daddy. Come on, PJ, Daddy.'" The infant here says, "Da." So the father gets excited. "That's it, Daddy." The kid says, "Da da." "Daddy, Daddy." This is the dad again. And then the kid is going, "Daddy, Daddy." "Good boy," responds the father. "Daddy," says the child. "Very good," says the father. Dad, I'm not sure if this is in good taste, but the dad goes to the mother to advertise that the child's first word is him and not her. He goes to the mother and says, "Listen to what PJ can say." And the PJ is the baby's name. He says, "Daddy." And mom says, "Wonderful." Well, in the next scene, it's nighttime, and the child is crying and tired because it's nighttime, and that's what children do at nighttime. And he says, "Daddy." And then the next scene, we hear him again from the other room saying, "Daddy," while Daddy is the one getting up, and Mom is sleeping in bed. So that'll teach you prospective fathers out there to snipe that first word, you know? All right. Well, that was fun. I would say we're off to a banging start. The next one is from Zitz, written by Jerry Scott and Jim Borgman. I forgot to mention the author for the Family Circus is Bill Keane. Great guy. Met him once at a convention. Fantastic sense of humor. Very friendly. One of the best people I've ever met. Anyway, Zitz by Jerry Scott and Jim Borgman. So here we begin with Mother. She's wearing a suit. It looks like it's from the 80s, maybe the 90s. She says, "Look, I haven't worn this suit in a dozen years, and it still fits." So in the next panel, we see the father and the son looking at each other. And the panel after that, they're both wearing suits that are too small for them. And the father says, "Let's just keep this between us." And the son says, "At least you came closer than I did." See, because the father has gained weight over the past 12 years. The son was a child 12 years ago because he's now a young adult. So neither of them have any chance of fitting into their suit. So there's another female privilege for you women out there, as you can still fit in your suit. As an alternative perspective, I suppose men could too if they just wouldn't gain weight, but that's just what happens after you have a kid. As a man, you gain weight. Anyway, not that I'm speaking from experience, heavens. So the next comic is Beetle Bailey. Now, Beetle Bailey is a funny comic because when you think of the military, it's a it's a very uptight organization. Everybody is following rules and doing what they feel is necessary at the moment, which is issuing rules. And the main character of Beetle Bailey is Bailey, Beetle Bailey himself. and he's a slacker. You don't expect that because he's wearing a military uniform, but he's always slacking off. Anyway, I'm not sure if you can hear it. Seems the garbage truck has arrived late today. Anyway, on our first panel, we see Beetle Bailey. He says, "Grab the rope, Sarge." Now, Sarge is hanging from a tree that's growing out of the side of a cliff. And Sarge says he's very angry right now. "What took you so long?" And Beetle says, "I got here as quickly as I could." Sarge is now climbing up, and he says, "I've been hanging down there for over an hour." And Beetle says, "Sorry, quick is quick isn't one of my better qualities." Oh man, you really don't expect that from a military uniform, do you? Whew. Oh, it was written by Greg, Brian, and Neil Walker. I forgot. I'm probably gonna keep forgetting, but I'll try to stay on top of it. I'm gonna skip over to the side piece here, get a little crazy. Uh, this one's, the sidebar now. This is Dennis the Menace by somebody who needs to learn how to write their name in a legible way. Today's comic has a title. It is called Featherweight, but weight is spelled W-A-I-T. I'm not sure what that means. We're about to find out together. I I did read the first few, but we're starting to get into territory I haven't traversed alone. So Dennis and his friend are walking on a sidewalk together when this adorable little thing with red hair walks up and says, "Hey boys, this is going to be an awesome Thanksgiving. My parents are taking me to visit my cousins in the country, and I'm staying for the whole weekend." And then she trots off whistling. I'll bet those boys are feeling sad that they won't be having some fun shenanigans this Thanksgiving. Oh, I was wrong. Dennis says, "She's right, Joey. This is going to be an awesome Thanksgiving." See, it's funny because at first you thought that they would be disappointed, but actually they're excited because they don't like this girl. That's the joke. They don't like this girl, and she's leaving for the weekend, so they are quite excited. Dennis is even throwing a football in the air to illustrate just how excited he really is. Thanksgiving. I'm thankful that the red-haired girl is on vacation with her family. All right. I'm not sure if you were able to hear that. My kid's alarm was going off, and I had to teach them how to turn it off. Some more attentive listeners will notice I said that I didn't have kids. That's actually technically my stepchild. But all right, the next comic is Blondie by Dean Young and John Marshall. Now, Blondie, he's kind of I don't like looking at him. He's got a blue dog, which I think is weird. He likes to make sandwiches, which I like a lot. So it's weird because I don't like him. I don't like the way he looks. I don't like the way he talks. But I like his sandwiches. Anyway, let's get on with the comic. This is written by Dean Young and John Marshall. So Blondie's neighbor has come over. He says, "Can I borrow your cordless hand drill?" Blondie says, "I haven't seen it since I loaned it to you a couple months ago." I think everyone's been there. His neighbor says, "Oh, that's right. You know, you're pretty good at keeping track of all your tools." Blondie says, "I know," because he doesn't need to be told that. "Yeah, you're really good at that," says his neighbor. His neighbor continues, "Well, I'm gonna head back to my workshop now, Dag." Oh, his name is Dag. I assumed it would be Blondie. Anyway, the neighbor continues, "Thanks for your help, By the way, you're not going to be shopping for a new electric sander anytime soon, are you? And Dag, not Blondie, as we've just learned. This is my favorite part of any comic. I need to hold this one up to the camera for it. He's looking right at the viewer, right at the reader. Isn't that funny? He's so upset. He doesn't have anything to say. All he can do is look at us. He can't even see us. It's so beyond silly. I can't handle it. Oh boy. Hmm. All right. The next comic is Hagar the Horrible by Chris Brown. Not the same Chris Brown, thankfully. This one has an E at the end. Now Hagar the Horrible is a bit of a misnomer. He's a decent guy. He does his best. He's a Viking, by the way, which you could see if you were following along. All right. So this begins with Hagar and his wife looking for a home, it seems. There is a middle-aged real estate agent, not like mid-40s, but like the Middle Ages. And he or she, it's a bit of an androgyne, is saying, "This house has been on the market for 6 months." The wife responds, "How is that possible? It's beautiful. What's not to love?" And see, up till now, we're seeing the house from the interior. And it is. It's got a stone fireplace with a shield and spears crossing over the top. I mean, the curtains are trimmed well. There's a lovely chandelier. It's very Viking-like, but it is still a chandelier, and it's very pretty. However, in the final panel, we see the house from the outside, and the real estate agent says to them, "It's still settling." See, the house is halfway into the ground. It's settling into the ground, and she recognized it as beautiful from the outside. It's just very creative storytelling. My favorite part is in the first panel when you can clearly see that the house is completely above ground, but by the fourth panel it has sunk halfway down. Something I think is particularly incredible about this is it means the house had just finished being built right before this showing, and Hagar and his wife are the first to see it. So that's pretty cool. They're probably gonna get it. I can't imagine they'll have a lot of competition. Alright. Man, we are making record-breaking time today, aren't we? Alright, let's get into the... Oh! Sunday comics have changed a bit from when I was a kid. It used to be you'd have this whole sheet full on both sides of comics, but guess what? On this side, we have advertisements. And now, I need to read this one because it's basically a comic on its own, despite the fact I am a little disappointed that they think this is more important than my Sunday comics. Hang on, I need a moment. Fuck! Everything is changing right before my very eyes. I can't control any of it. Ah! Hi, welcome back. I hope you didn't see my bananas. I wasn't planning on standing up for this. So, this advertisement that I was so geeked out about here. Now you see, we've got these two individuals on their cell phones. This is an advertisement for the USA Today's Daily Crossword, which is humorous because we're not reading the USA Today. We're reading the Livingston Daily Press and Argus. They must be hurting for ad space. The ad says, 9-letter word for avoiding intimacy. That couple is falling apart, but at least they're doing a daily crossword, and that's important for keeping your brain sharp and avoiding Alzheimer's later in life. What is that word anyway? I think I would know. Anyway, the next comic. Oh, this is a good one. Now, I haven't read this one yet, but anytime I see Garfield, I know we're about to have some shenanigans. They don't even have to put his name there because I know this one. This is Jim Davis. Jim Looping Davis. What a guy. I've not met him, but I imagine he'd be great if you did get the chance to meet him. Alright, so in the first panel, we have John Arbuckle, who I'm sure you know by face and name at this point. He's walking up to his cat, Garfield, and he says, "Guess what I got for you?" It's the season, after all. "It's Fuzzy Fishy Wishy," which I guess is the name that John has given to this toy that he's playing for with Garfield. There's a stick, there's a string at the end of the stick, and then at the end of that string is a green fish with a feather, and he's got like a red rooster crow. It's an interesting amalgamation of Animalian elements. Anyway, Garfield is not interested. He's just, I love Garfield. He's one of my favorite characters in any fictional experience whatsoever. He's never fazed by anything except lasagna, and I can relate to that. Except for me, it's coffee. All right. So anyway, John continues playing with his fuzzy fishy wishy. Maybe it's a toy for John after all. He's dragging it along on the table. Get it, get it, get it, get it, get it, get it. That's what he's saying. That's not me. That's John. John then continues, "Wooga, wooga, wooga." Garfield is still not having it. There's a whole panel where John's realizing that Garfield isn't going to play, so now John too has his lidded eyes. He's like, "Pizza?" And then Garfield finally stands up and he says, well, he thinks. I don't know if you've ever read this comic strip, so I'm going to explain now. Garfield doesn't really speak, he just thinks in thought bubbles that we read. Presumably, John is not able to hear them. However, there were some early comics that tread that line very closely. Anyway, Garfield says, "I thought you'd never ask." That Garfield, he could really stand to have played with that toy, though. Looking at that tummy. He's probably had kids. Alright. The next one is Peanuts. This is almost certainly a rerun. I don't think Charles Schulz is making new Peanuts comics right now. Pretty sure he's retired. But let's get started. So we have Sally here. She's a little blonde one. She says to Linus, I'm nearly certain, "How come I never get the kick?" And Linus says, "Do you think you can?" Now this is already pretty funny because his kicking form is utter garbage. I've seen better kicking form on an angry child, and he is half of those things, so maybe he just needs to be a little angrier. Anyway, Linus continues, "This is a pretty big ball. I'm not sure you're strong enough. Let's see how hard you can kick." And then Sally kicks him. Huh, I didn't see that one coming. It even makes a sound effect. Thunk. Even though it's kicking him in the shins. That's gotta hurt. Think about how hard you gotta get kicked to hear a thunk. And Linus says, "Og!" Linus then continues, "Ow! Ooh! Ow!" Ow! You dummy, you're supposed to kick the ball, not my leg. Ow! Ouch! Ow! It's good with his words. Charlie Brown says, "What's going on? I thought you were playing football." And Sally says, "I think I just sacked the quarterback." I don't even need to explain that one. All right. The next comic is For Better or For Worse by Lynn Johnston. There's not a lot of words in this one. Let me take a look through before I read it. Oh, it's a pun! There's a pun coming! You're going to love this one, I assure you. So we see this girl. She's, I don't know, 4 to 6 years old. She's a small one. She's playing with these puppies. And then she's playing with the puppies. And then she's playing with the puppies. And then she's playing with the puppies again. And in the next panel, she is still playing with the puppies. It's really a committed artist here who was sure to draw lots of pictures of a girl playing with puppies. And I was myself, admittedly, beginning to lose interest. But finally, in the 5th panel, the girl's father says, "You know, Elle, the poems and the songs are all wrong. This is puppy love." Now, this might miss some of you younger audiences, because puppy love is not a term many of you kids are using today. Puppy love refers to when typically a boy and a girl are interested in each other but too young to be experiencing more advanced feelings. That's my understanding of it anyway. I've also heard it referred to adult love that doesn't traverse into this territory either. It's just playful and silly and whimsical. But the pun is that she's actually playing with puppies. I might need to take a break here soon. There's only 3 more comics. Let's push through. This next one is called Baby Blues by Rick Kirkman and Jerry Scott. Pardon me. Hey, smell this. Ew, ew, ew. Bam. I'm totally telling. By the way, the panel here shows that the mother is combing her hair and putting her lipstick on. She's just going through a routine day. And as part of her routine day, it seems that her children are having a tussle. In the next panel, we see the father pouring some coffee into a mug for the mother. Let's toast to that. Love Kalula. In the background, the older of the children, the daughter, the red hair, always with the red hair. Keep that in mind. Says, "That's mine!" And the child, a boy, very short buzz cut hair, little freckles, big puffy cheeks. Keep that in mind. Says, "Not anymore!" And the next child, the monkey boy, is saying, "Hoo! Ya! Kai!" And the red-headed girl is saying, "Shriek!" I don't think that's the important dialogue, but it's written in very big words, so it's very distracting. I think that's part of the joke. Meanwhile, the mother, with a very calm tone as she's sipping her coffee, that's relatable. I'm going to try to do that myself. I remember when my only problem in the morning was deciding which cute outfit I should wear to work. I understand now. She couldn't hear herself, and by using the coffee mug as a sort of megaphone, she was able to amplify her own vocal range. Anyway, I can't relate to that one. And the next comic, Pickles by Brian Crane. Pickles is a comic featuring 2 old people. I like that. It's different. Most comics only feature young adults or children, and in some cases, parents. And while those are relatable plights, there is a large percentage of the human population that is old, and a very small percentage of media that represents what it's like to be in that age group. Someday I'll be in that age group. When that day comes, I'd like to feel seen. Thank you, Brian Crane, for writing this important piece of media literature. Let's continue. The woman says, "Where have you been, Earl?" Earl is the husband's name. He's wearing some neat clothes with a lot of pockets. An insane amount of pockets. An utterly zany number of pockets. Kind of looks like he just got out of the military, too. I wonder if he's gonna pull some zany relaxed shenanigans like Beetle Bailey did on the first page. Oh, I got distracted. So Earl says, "I bought these cargo pants and cargo shirt at the Army surplus store." His wife says, "Wow, that's a lot of pockets." And the man says, "Yeah, now I've got enough pockets to carry everything I could ever need." The woman replies, "Great." She's looking at her finger now. She's lost interest. "Do you have nail clippers? I've got a hangnail." She's got something to think about already. But her husband is supportive. He replies, "You bet." And he's looking through his pockets and he says, "It may take me a half hour or so to find them." He's got too many pockets. He's got enough pockets to hold everything he could ever need, but he can't find it. Whew. All right. Hmm. Okay. That was a good one. That's going to be tough to follow up, but we are at the finale. I would like to say I've appreciated our time together, and I hope that you have too. So, for our grand finale, this next comic is Foxtrot by Bill Amend. Amend? Amend. Amen. So, we've got a boy in school. He's doing some schoolwork. It appears to be a math story problem, which I know is not a very popular school assignment, but I myself quite like a good story problem. So I'm pretty excited to see where this one goes. If a chef bakes this is the homework, not the boy. If a chef bakes pumpkin pies with diameters of 24 centimeters, and each pie has a thickness of 4 centimeters and a density of 1.15 grams per centimeter cubed, approximately how many pies would it take to equal the mass of Jupiter? Bonus, how many liters of whipped cream would you suggest the chef prepare? Alright, that's pretty interesting. I don't remember any story problems like that, but I kind of want to figure it out when I'm done recording this video. Anyway, that's not the punchline. Hold tight. Buckle up. Hang on to your underwear. The child says, "My physics teacher gets a little silly around the holidays." Indeed, she does. His older sister says, "Ew, did you drool on this?" Alright, everyone, that was the grand finale. Hope you had a good time. Maybe we'll do this again next Sunday. Have a nice week.